Hat, sunglasses, Pepsi, notes, sources, thick skin, check. You already know. Let's go. Golden Blued is a college football YouTube channel for entertainment. So make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and let's get into our next college football video. Somebody finally did it. They finally did it. Somebody sent in the video idea that I've been waiting on, and that's turning the big dance into a college football thing. Now, this will never happen. Let me make one thing perfectly clear. It doesn't matter if something will never happen and it's kind of crazy. If I think it's entertaining, and maybe other people might find it entertaining, I'm doing a video on it. So feel free to send me video ideas. Just send it to my email address, refsuck@gmail.com. And if I think it's entertaining, I will most definitely do a video on it. So this is basically the big dance, just in college football form. What do I mean by big dance? Some people don't know what that is. And for those of you that don't know what that is, it's basically the NCAA tournament for basketball. 68 teams total. And had somebody translate that over to college football, and I think it turned out pretty good. Now, I will say this. I don't agree with some of these seedings. I think some of these teams should have a higher seed, and some of these teams should have a lower seed. But you know what? Beggars can't be choosers. I appreciate the work that went into this. So let's get into it. Let's do a video. So there will be 4 regions, just like the NCAA tournament, and eventually there will be crowned a national championship, last team standing, basically. This will never happen. The college football playoffs will expand to 12 here real soon. 16 at the most is what I see. They will never expand beyond 16. So 64 or 68, that's not happening. But just for the sake of argument, just for the sake of entertainment, let's dive into this. So Region 1, here we go. The play-in game for the 16 seed. Missouri, who finished 6-6, going up against West Virginia. That's right. Woo! West Virginia makes the big dance in this scenario. We are playing for that play-in spot for the 16 seed. And the reward would be playing number 1 Georgia, who of course is 13-0. So yeah, there wouldn't be much hope for West Virginia. The winner of that would play the winner of the 8 seed Iowa, who finished 7-5, versus the 9 seed Troy, who finished 11-2. And that second round matchup would be called the Gasparilla Bowl. Yeah, that's where we get into our bowl matchups. Then we have the 5 seed UCLA, who finished 9-3. They'll be taking on the number 12 seed Florida, who finished 6-6. I'm acting like this is actually happening. No, this is not actually happening. The winner of that would take on the 4 seed Florida State, who finished 9-3, versus the 13th seed Oklahoma, who finished 6-6. And the winner of those matchups would play in the New Orleans Bowl. The 6th seed Tennessee, 10-2, would play the 11th seed Wisconsin, who finished 6-6. Winner of that would play either the 3 seed Oregon State, who finished 9-3, or the 14th seed Duke, who finished 8-4. That would actually be a pretty good matchup. And those 2 winners would play in the Cure Bowl. And the 7th seed UCF, 9-4, would play the 10th seed Minnesota, who finished 8-4. Winner of that would take on the winner of the 2 seed Alabama, who finished 10-2, taking on number 15 Air Force, who finished 9-3. Those 2 winners would play in the Armed Forces Bowl. The winner of the top 2 matchups would go on to play the Citrus Bowl. The winner of the bottom 2 matchups would go on to play the Music City Bowl. And then those 2 winners would play in the Peach Bowl for the right to get to the Final 4. Next region, the 1 seed TCU, finishing 12-1, taking on whoever wins the 16th seed Fresno State, who finished 9-4, Mountain West champs, or Western Kentucky, who finished 9-5. I do not agree with that 16 seeding for Fresno State. They won the freaking Mountain West. But anyways, the winner of that matchup would play either the 8 seed Mississippi State, who finished 8-4, or the 9 seed Boise State, who finished 10-4. Winner of those 2 matchups will play in the Independence Bowl. The 5 seed Kansas State, who finished 10-3, taking on the 12 seed Liberty, who finished 8-4. Winner of that takes on either the 4 seed Ole Miss, who finished 8-4, or the 13 seed South Alabama, who finished 10-3. Winner of those 2 matchups would play in the Quick Lane Bowl. And the 6 seed Washington, who finished 10-2, would take on the 11 seed Maryland, who finished 7-5. Winner of that would take on either the 3 seed Cincinnati, who finished 9-4, or the 14th seed Texas Tech, who finished 7-5. Those 2 winners would play in the First Responder Bowl. Then number 7 Wake Forest, who finished 7-5, taking on the 10 seed Baylor, who finished 6-6. Winner of that takes on the 2 seed USC, who finished 11-2, or the 15th seed BYU, who finished 7-5. Winner of the top 2 matchups would go on to play in the Gator Bowl, and the winner of the bottom 2 matchups would go on to play in the ReliaQuest Bowl. And then those 2 winners would play in the Rose Bowl for the right to get to the Final 4. Next region, the number 1 seed Ohio State, 11-1. would take on either Auburn, who finished 5-7, or Iowa State, who finished 4-8. Whoever wins that earns the right to the 16th seed to play Ohio State. Winner of that matchup plays either number 8 South Carolina 8-4 or number 9 Oklahoma State, who finishes 7-5. Winner of those two matchups would play in the Birmingham Bowl. Then the 5 seed Notre Dame, who finished 8-4, taking on the 12 seed Kansas, who finished 6-6. Winner of that takes on the winner of the 4 seed North Carolina, who finished 9-4, and the 13 seed Arkansas, who finished 6-6. Those two winners would play in the Pinstripe Bowl. In the 6 seed Oregon, who finished 9-3, taking on the 11 seed Kentucky, who finished 7-5. Winner of that plays either the 3 seed Coastal Carolina, who finished 9-3, or the 14 seed Pitt, who finished 8-4. Those seedings right there make absolutely no sense. But the winner of that matchup would play in the Camellia Bowl. Then we have the 7 seed UTSA, who finished 11-2, versus the 10 seed NC State, who finished 8-4. Winner of that would take on either the 2 seed Clemson, who finished 11-2, or the 15 seed Marshall, who finished 8-4. Winner of those two matchups would play in the Military Bowl. Winner of the top two matchups would play in the Cheez-It Bowl. Winner of the bottom two matchups would play in the Alamo Bowl. And then those two winners would play in the Sugar Bowl for the right to get to the Final Four. Finally, the last region, the 1 seed Michigan, who's 13-0, would take on either Appalachian State, who finished 6-6, or Michigan State, who finished 5-7. Whoever wins that 16 seed matchup. Winner of that matchup plays either the 8 seed Louisville, who finished 7-5, or the 9 seed Purdue, who finished 8-5. Winner of those two matchups play in the Liberty Bowl. 5 seed Utah, 10-3, takes on the 12 seed Houston, who finished 7-5. Winner of that takes on either the 4 seed Tulane, who finished 11-2, or the 13 seed James Madison, who finished 8-3. Winner of those two matchups play in the Holiday Bowl. 6 seed Penn State finished 10-2, would take on the 11 seed SMU, who finished 7-5. Winner of that matchup would take on the winner of the 3 seed Texas, who finished 8-4, or the 14 seed Syracuse, who finished 7-5. Winner of those two matchups would play in the Arizona Bowl. Then the 7 seed Illinois, who finished 8-4, taking on the 10 seed Washington State, who finished 7-5. Winner of that would take on either the 2 seed LSU, who finished 9-4, or the 15 seed East Carolina, who finished 7-5. Winner of those two matchups would play in the Texas Bowl. Winner of the top two matchups would play in the Sun Bowl. Winner of the bottom two matchups would play in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. And then the winner of those matchups would play in the Orange Bowl for the right to get to the Final Four. The winners of the first two regions would play in the Cotton Bowl for the right to get to the national championship. Then the winners of the other two regions would play in the Fiesta Bowl for the right to get to the national championship. This is an amazing setup. It's never going to happen. I don't think it's a good idea. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying it's an intriguing idea. I like it. Somebody took a lot of time to come up with this. Some of these rankings, though, or seedings, I should say. Some of these seedings I really don't like. The ones that I have the biggest issues with, I would say Tennessee as a 6th seed. I would bump them a little higher. I think they would be in the top 4 lines as far as seedings go. So at minimum, a 4 seed. So I don't agree with that. I honestly don't like Duke as a 14 seed. I think they're a better team than that. I think they could earn a single-digit seed. In other words, a 9 seed or higher. I also don't like Air Force as a 15 seed. Air Force is a really good team. I think Air Force at minimum could be a 12 seed or higher. You already know I don't agree with that 16 seed for Fresno State. I think they would deserve at least an 8 seed or higher. Same with Western Kentucky, actually. I think they could at least be a 10 seed or higher. I don't like Ole Miss as a 4 seed. I would actually have them lower, probably like a 7 or 8 seed. I also don't like Washington as a 6 seed. I would have them higher, probably in the top 4 lines. 4 seed or higher. I think Cincinnati as a 3 seed, that's a little too high. I would have them as a 5 or a 6. And then the team that they're playing, Texas Tech, a 14 seed, they're a little bit better than that. I would have Texas Tech as like a 11 or 12 seed. And North Carolina as a 4 seed, that's laughable. I know they made the ACC championship. They weren't that good of a team. I would have them probably at a 7 or 8 seed. I think Oregon should actually be higher. I think a 6 seed is a little low for them. I would have them probably as a 5, maybe a 4 seed. Coastal Carolina as a 3 seed, you have got to be kidding me. I would have them as a double-digit seed. And then Pitt, as much as I hate Pitt, they would not be a 14 seed. Pitt would be at least an 8 or 9 seed. And honestly, as much as I don't like Marshall, I don't think they would deserve a 15 seed. I think Marshall should be a single-digit seed, a 9 seed or higher. They're a pretty good team this year. I also think Penn State as a 6 seed should be a little bit higher. Borderline top 4 lines, meaning a 4 seed or higher for Penn State. State. I think they're a good team. And Texas as a 3 seed going 8-4. What are you thinking? At most, Texas is like a 6 or 7 seed. So yeah, those are the seedings that I had the most issues with, but I understand the work that it took to do something like this, so I understand. But I still had to point out those seedings. Y'all let me know in the comments section. No, don't let me know if you think it's ever going to happen or not, because we all know it's never going to happen. What I do want to know is what your favorite matchups are and what seedings do you disagree with the most. That's all I got for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next show.